Cabin 13 Productions.
He popularized the legend of the Bermuda Triangle in his best-selling book, The Bermuda Triangle. It'd be like me writing a book and it's just called Jack in the Box. And
you're like, oh my God, no way he's talking about Jack in the Box right now. Like how does a cargo freighter, how's it just gone? It's just gone.
That even with new age technology, we still haven't found it.
And that rescue aircraft with 13 men aboard also vanished. Never to be seen again. So now you have a total of 6 aircrafts.
I'm such a loser, sweating God, I'm the worst.
Welcome back to the Woodsman Podcast. We're your hosts, Brent Murphy
and Joey Rucker.
And wow, it's crazy the 3-second pause you just take to say your name. So.
There's definitely a little bit of lag today, but we're back on Riverside, as you can all see. Back on our new home turf. And
home turf for sure.
Yeah. It's I definitely noticed that when we were talking earlier. There was a point where I was saying a sentence and then you replied to something I had said at the beginning, and I was like already on to almost the next topic. I was about to start the next topic and you responded to the first thing, and I was like, oh, okay, cool.
You're like, all right. So the lag is real. Got it.
We're just testing our acting skills. We gotta pull out, pretend like we know
all the
what
punches. All the punches are being pulled. So, well, we're not going to try and dwell on everything. Let's just be honest. We know we didn't release an episode this last week. That's just how it is.
It's been a habit.
We give ourselves a we're busy. Quite honestly, we were just fucking tired, dude. We were just tired, and we didn't want to. We didn't want to. I don't know about you. I don't want to speak for you, but it felt nice. It felt nice to not have to worry about anything. So
it's nice because we post our episodes over the weekends. We don't commit to Sundays, but normally they come out on Sundays. But we post our episodes on the weekends, which means we have to record mostly on weekdays because Brent's out of town most weekends, which is fine. But we both, we get tired, man. And so sometimes it feels nice to like hop on a call and just like play games, and not have to be like, all right, let's lock in and turn our lights on,
We've been trying to play Sea of Thieves for weeks now, but we haven't done it. And that's mostly on my part because I'm too lazy to install our hard drive. So
Sea of Thieves, I told you I went out drinking with Isaac for his graduation. I got an opportunity to look at his PlayStation, and I can now confirm it's not his fault. It is weird. Like, he turns it on and it says you need to like install a newer version of the PlayStation software in order to run the PlayStation now. Like, it won't even get past that. So now
does that mean we have to both put our money together to
just get him
buy him a PlayStation 5?
Honestly, like,
it's only $500. It's like $250.
$250.
Yeah.
Couple wait like two paychecks. We each.
Yeah. We just put some money aside, buy him one.
He would become fully addicted.
He doesn't even watch these videos anyway, so it's not like he would even know. So
yeah, Isaac, you're a fucking bitch.
bitch ass doesn't listen to no podcast. Looking ass. Yeah.
Anyway,
you gotta love it.
Didn't mean to tangent.
Oh, it's not. No.
We do have housekeeping, not a lot. I feel like we say that a lot, but really our housekeeping list keeps going down.
It keeps dwindling because we haven't been adding anything else.
Yeah.
We used to add like, oh yeah, new listeners. It's like, if you guys listen, you listen. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing we can do about it.
I think we only really have like two main things to talk about. One is kind of schedule based, and then another is about our last episode. In regards to scheduling, we've been talking a lot about how it's been tough to really push this show out every week and keep up the quality for you guys. I feel like a while back, life wasn't really pushing in the way as much with work, and especially like in the peak, I would say, of Woodsman. And I think now, especially with Brent working at the same job as me, which he has for a while, but I think lately just the schedules have been lining up way more where we're both just so burnt out.
Well, I mean, we're also not even working the same shift hours anymore. At this point, it's like when Joey leaves, I'm starting.
Mm-hmm.
And even when we are together, one of us are doing things like way after a normal work hour or normal work week. So it's been a little bit more difficult to try and gauge all that kind of stuff. And I mean, not to be that guy, but we both work hard. We both make sure that we're doing what we have to do and getting our stuff together. So when one of us is like, oh, we have to work until 8 p.m. and the other person gets out at like 2, 3, or 4, it's kind of like, oh, well, we'll figure it out,
We'll
so the
out.
podcast has kind of been like on the back burner as far as that, because we are trying to work hard, so
it's been on the back burner, but we also want to not give you guys shit episodes. So that's why we haven't been like pushing ourselves to the brink of exhaustion to put out weekly episodes. Because I feel like there have been times during Woodsman where we have been just as exhausted as we are now, but we did push out the episodes. And I think you could definitely tell in our demeanor.
Yeah, they didn't come out as good, or we
weren't in the mood to talk. That was the thing. So that said, we're not committing to anything just yet, but we are taking a step back to maybe brainstorm different potential avenues for us to take when it comes to the Woodsman schedule. Whether that means we still do the weekly episodes, or if we do something, different and we push something out a different week that's not Woodsman, and that very well could be, for all we would like to do, is the Patreon. We keep talking about it. Yeah. For all we know, maybe it could be like Woodsman Patreon, something like that, just so that way it actually feels like we're getting a bit of variety in our content and not just trying to push out the same thing and only being able to do the same thing over and over again. So
not even that, but just even bringing the Chillcast back,
Chillcast,
it's
been a minute.
Literally, we made the Chillcast for one of those, like, hey, we can't get through this week, let's just do a short episode talking about whatever. And I think we kind of got in the rhythm where especially once we have Riverside, it was like, well, we can just push episodes out. We don't even have to worry about, like video. We can just go for it. And, having an easier platform also makes it a little bit harder, because then you kind of expect more out of yourself.
Yeah.
To kind of do more, even though you could just stay in the same place and it still be the same quality. Same amount of scripting, same amount of like this and that. We have been way more laid back on like the scripting for this season than we did for like previous seasons. I mean, let's be honest, I was probably writing like 10 pages a week, 12, maybe even 15 pages. and then Joey adds to it, and then we're at like 18 to like 20 pages, you know. And that was more on me, just basically like, hey, like, I want to kind of script out everything. This last season, we've maybe written in
Like
total maybe 10 pages out of like an entire season, you know? So we haven't been doing that. And like some of it, like, I mean, it flows very well because we can play off of each other. But there's certain things where if we're going to do a spooky episode, or if we're going to do a history driven type of episode, there has to be thought behind it, you know, and you can't really do a lot of that if you're working all the time, and you can't, you know.
There comes a learning curve with kind of changing the format up a little bit. I think one thing, I don't know, I don't want to speak for you, but I think one thing I've seen with doing less outlines for every episode is I think we have learned to communicate more when just fluidly with each other, not have to rely on like, oh, we have to make sure we hit this point, and this point. And if we don't, then we have to pause and go back and then re-record that part because we need to redo it. And I also think that, you know, like there's two things, two main things that I would say stick out to me. If we do keep up more of a fluid, not have to rely on a script every time, we can make the episodes, like you said, like Halloween or a much more historical episode. We can put more time and effort into that script and make that one more special compared to like just a normal episode where we speak about a topic. The other thing I've noticed is like our intros that we used to do, the speaking intros with all the music and the background footage. It was nice. It was nice. I think there were a few that really did hit hard. Yeah. Especially like I think the moon landing one. I really like that one.
Oh yeah.
But
or
I
like
also think
the near death experience episodes, part 1 and part 2. Those were cool for like what it was, but
I just think that when we do that for
doing
every
it every
episode,
time, it loses its flavor. Yeah. It loses the overall, not the overall meaning, but like the overall just like the vibe of everything.
And it's not to say that we're not going to ever do those things. It's just that when we do those things, they'll be more special. And like for our normal episodes where we're going to talk about is, you know, Grand Theft Auto versus Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, you don't need a crazy introduction. One, like we've even taken a step back from even like our descriptions for episodes and stuff as well. Like I write those.
Yeah.
And when we get to it, it's like, you know, we don't need a fucking like 2-page essay on what the 2-hour episode is going to be, you know, like,
yeah, exactly.
We don't need that. So it's more like, you know, just join us on this journey when we talk about this, and that. And then
Woodsman
follow
has always
us on
been
whatever, you know, and then just get on with it. Like there is no reason to go through a crazy
Woodsman has always been an adapting show, something that's been changing and materializing as we both do it with it. Like we've both been growing up. I mean, as stupid as this is to say, we have been growing up with Woodsman as it's been progressing. Like
100%.
So I think we learn different things that we prefer, and that I think more people latch onto as we go along. And so if we want to change the format, we're doing it because we ultimately think that you guys will take in and appreciate it more. I think every decision we make is still in hopes that you guys will like enjoy what we're putting out for you.
Yeah. One like numbers show as well. I mean, we're not at like levels where we're like, oh my God, fucking famous, you know, like we're not anywhere near that, but like you can tell just by streams and by views and like the counts of everything. When you add it all up, you're like, oh well, when we were trying at this level of just like crazy production, crazy script writing, crazy just like this and that, we've gotten more response from us just chilling and being
Shooting the
ourselves
shit,
and
yeah.
like doing what we normally do like on a daily basis. So you know, it's just one of those, you kind of have to let go of the reins. You got to let go of like what you think is gonna ultimately be like where you need to be at, and just go where you're at in general. So yeah, it's definitely a learning curve. It's definitely a learning curve when you invest in hella equipment. You invest in like, you know, oh, you want to be this and that as far as professional wise, and then you just kind of realize like, oh, well, people are gonna listen regardless of like how crazy the production value is. They're gonna listen regardless on your 4K cameras. They're gonna listen on how crazy your audio is. If you have something to say, people are gonna listen, you know.
It shows in our last episode. Like I don't know if you watched the actual YouTube video yet.
Yeah.
I heavily criticized myself in editing because I don't think, when I looked back at the footage, and I used the raw camera footage from the actual cameras, not the OBS stuff.
Yeah.
So we would have full high quality whatever. We definitely were not in focus for like the main show. And so when I had to zoom in and cut out our different camera angles, it was a little blurry in certain sections. Not like overtly blurry, but it was blurry enough for me as a perfectionist when it comes to video editing.
Oh,
where I was like, God, this pisses me off. But everybody I've talked to that has listened to that episode has really been enjoying it. And it's just because we got together. For those of you who didn't see, our last episode as of this current recording was the Mother's Day episode, which not like our most popular episode by any means, but from the reviews and critiques that I've heard, I mean, everybody's really been enjoying just listening to like family stories and interviewing questions about our moms and stuff like that. It did fairly well when it comes to like audience retention and enjoyment, you know? And so I think it speaks to what you were saying.
I think the audience level for the motherhood episode, I mean, it even far surpassed the fatherhood episode. I think we've had a lot of people where they're like, you know, they're not by any means guests of like crazy importance, you know, like we're not at a level where it's like, oh, Joe Rogan could have whoever he wants on a podcast, you know. But having your own mother on and then having a conversation and a dialogue where you're like, hey, I know when it's vice versa, where it's like, it's not you talking to your mom, it's like me talking to your mom, or you're talking to my mom. When you have that level of like, yeah, no, we've always been friends, but like, where did you stand on this? Or like, you know, stuff like that. You kind of realize that a lot of people respond to that because a lot of people have had that in their own household. They've had that like, hey, you know, my friend's parents have always been there for me, but like, imagine like interviewing them and then having to say like, oh, well, I didn't necessarily like what you personally were doing through this and that, but we think that you've turned into a better person because you had to go through like this and that. And not a lot of people can go through that, because a lot of people, they'll go through like, oh, I'm gonna talk to a famous person, or I'm gonna talk to, you know, this person who's already gone through like their own life shit, And I'm not going to mention anything having to do with me as a person. And I think us having an episode where we can actually really get to the bottom of like who we are as people, who our parents were, and are like as people.
Yeah.
Their regrets or their things that they
that they're proud of, and
that they're proud of, and what they're proud in us, what they're not proud in us, what we can work on, what they can work on. I think that's what a lot of people I think need right now. You know, I don't think a lot of people get that the realism that comes with all of that kind of stuff. So no, it was a great episode. Like you said, by far no means like our best episode as far as viewership or anything like that, but the people commenting and the people who know us personally coming up to us and saying like, hey, yeah, like, you know, this episode was like a really good episode, you know, like a really good episode, a thought-provoking episode, because, you know, yeah, we're a lifestyle comedy type of podcast or whatever, but comedy only goes so far, you know. Comedy only goes so far, and having something that's real and something tangible and something where you can learn a life lesson, I'd like to say that's something that we kind of pride ourselves in, you know, is learning something and learning how to grow as a person, as an individual, and how you believe in yourself and how you believe in other people, you know. That's something we've always strived to kind of do.
Yeah, we've never been one to say like we're only going to be this kind of podcast. I think we had early meetings about it when we were just brainstorming this podcast. Like, what's our vibe? Are we going to be informational? Are we going to be comedic? Are we going to only stick to one subject matter? And sticking to one main grouping felt restricting to us because we're so passionate about so many things. And so I think when it comes to the future of the Woodsman, we're still just as excited, a little tired, but we're still just as excited as we were in the beginning to share just our thoughts, our opinions, our stories, and learn. We've mentioned that too. Learn new things that we haven't talked about before, and so that you guys can learn and find out some of this information with us, alongside us. So
yeah. Well, and this episode is no different. You know, we're always on like we're not on the opposite spectrums, but we're pretty, you know, half and half when it comes to stuff like this. If you guys couldn't realize by the way we're talking right now, this is spooky week. We have a good one for you guys, and this episode is going to be about the Bermuda Triangle, and we're gonna dive through some stories. We're gonna dive through some literature, and you know, we're not. Let me rephrase that. We're not trying to get to the bottom of anything because we're not that smart. But we will tell you some crazy stories, and we'll leave you guys with some thought-provoking questions, and hopefully you guys like it. But as far as housekeeping goes, I think we're pretty good. I don't think we have anything else. So if you guys have any questions or inquiries on Cabin 13 Productions, you can definitely head over to cabin13productions@gmail.com. That's cabin13productions@gmail.com.
The numbers, not the words.
Yeah. Don't spell out 13. That's crazy. But if you also have any comments, concerns, or stories for us, you know, anything spooky, anything like that, like feel free, definitely, especially for me.
Brent has been dying to hear your guys' own stories.
I check the emails daily, and you guys just don't have anything for me. So it's whatever. It's cool. But if you have any of those, again, comments, questions, stories, you can always reach out at thewoodsmanpod@gmail.com, Or you can also hit us up at our new show that is about to premiere. Again, we post all the time on Instagram. We have a new show. It's Liminal Lurkers. That's going to be like all the spooky stuff in general. You guys can always hit us up at liminallurkers@gmail.com, or you can hit us up at the same @ on Instagram, Liminal Lurkers. And you can share your spooky stories. You can share like anything having to do with like weird shit, you know, anything that's, paranormal or unexplainable. Hit us up on there. We're going to have that show out very soon for you guys. So, but if you guys don't want to hit us up on there, you can always hit us up at our normal email, or you can hit us up at Cabin13. And, yeah,
let us know.
Yeah, for sure.
That said, we have some spooky and unexplainable circumstances that we'd like to talk about with a very, very popular phenomenon, the Bermuda Triangle.
Very popular. Very popular for sure. Also, don't forget to rate us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
We don't talk about that enough.
Yeah.
Like, comment, share. Please download our pod wherever you get your podcasts. It's still posted fucking everywhere.
Anywhere you can think of to get your podcast, you'll find us.
We're highly popular on Apple and Spotify, but if you use iHeartRadio, then fucking go over there. And
hit us up on there. Hit us up on Deezer. Hit us up on some crazy stuff. But I mean, I will say, from what we haven't said before, if you guys want to hit us up on buzzsprout.com/The Woodsman Podcast, you can also do it there. That's in like all of our bios. You can hit us up on Linktree. Everything you post having to do with Buzzsprouts, because they're our distributor. It'll go cross platforms, all that kind of stuff. It definitely helps. 5-star ratings help, even if it's 4 stars. I won't tell on you guys. But
fuck you guys. We're definitely a 5-star
fuck you
podcast.
guys. Yeah, we're definitely a 5-star podcast. But yeah, if you guys ever want to hit us up, it really does make our day. It really does make a difference for us. Makes a difference for the podcast, and it kind of helps us to feel like it's worth what we're doing, So definitely rate us 5 stars if you think we're a 5-star podcast on anywhere you get your podcast. And other than that, you can also subscribe to our... we have a script for this, so I have to read it. But
I don't know if we have to.
No. We're going to keep reading it, and hopefully people will just keep doing it. Lastly, you can subscribe to our Patreon for our candid, uncensored show, Back to the Cabin, at patreon.com/The Woodsman Podcast. And yes, we haven't been posting videos, but we're really trying hard to just get this.
Going to get there, we
out,
swear.
So
before season 6.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I will say for anyone who's new and you guys want to subscribe, we do have a couple videos on there. It's not like we're promoting nothing. We have a couple things.
Blank canvas over there.
Yeah, we have a couple things. We have I think about like 6 episodes.
Did we
or
ever
something
do
like that.
Hear Me Out? Did we ever actually record that?
No, I don't know.
Damn.
I don't know. We didn't do anything, Joey. We didn't do anything.
If you want to see me die from a hot chip, then
a hot chip,
go over there.
A hot
check it
chip
out.
with like the worst concoctions that you could possibly do on a hot chip.
Or if you want your tummy to not hurt so much, then maybe check out our Christmas decorating cookies.
Christmas decorating cookies was great. But yeah, no, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, again, you can hit us up at all of our platforms, and we'll definitely reach out. We're definitely on our socials and all that kind of stuff daily. So without further ado, we're 29 minutes into this recording. We're going to get into the Bermuda Triangle.
The Bermuda Triangle.
The Bermuda Triangle. So stick around. We love you.
So we're sorry we took a little bit longer on housekeeping, but we are very excited about today's episode. I feel like it's been a minute since we've done a full dedicated, like, unexplainable or popular unexplainable event. Actually, come to think of it, I have our channel up right now. The last one we did really was season 5 finale with the missing 411, which just turned into calling me Cheese
Boy McGee. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, unless you count
that's
the headless
one of my
chicken,
favorite episodes. That's
2 episodes
one of my favorite
ago.
episodes. Yeah.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
it's kind of nice. Had a little bit of a break, but we got to get back into some of the weird happenings of this world. And one of the
Joey's like, finally, I can get a solid run of no weird ass shit that Brent brings up, because I'm the only one that brings it up. But I will say this episode, Joey brought this up. This
was
exact
my
topic.
idea.
So
I like that we have taken a bit of a break, because I feel like it's going to be more entertaining to, at least for me, to kind of now dive in ocean, the Bermuda. Anyway, that said, we are talking about the Bermuda Triangle today. And yes, as Brent mentioned, it was my idea to do this. And fun fact, I didn't do any of the work. So,
it's fine. It's fine.
As much as I wish I would have, because I was interested in this story, and I do have, since I have it here, let me just bring it up and get it over with now.
Okay. What? Like you're gonna go through your information or what?
This is my only contribution to the Bermuda Triangle. So I was curious, since there's been a lot of movies and TV shows and stories and books and stuff about the Bermuda Triangle. I was just curious how it became so relevant in cinema.
Okay.
And so I just, this is a quick little.
You went through a whole other level than what I did. So
that's good, because it'll be a little bit of a pivot. Just to start.
That's good, because I only have 4 sentences involving
it's not that
the
long.
Bermuda Triangle.
It's honestly just if you look up this same question on Google, you'll find what I'm about to read.
Okay.
All I wanted to know was, like, why did the Bermuda Triangle become so relevant in cinema? And it says the Bermuda Triangle became a cinematic obsession during the 1970s because it offered filmmakers a terrifying blank canvas by combining real-world unsolved maritime mysteries like the 1945 loss of Flight 19, which we will be discussing later.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
With speculative science fiction cinema capitalized on a massive cultural craze for the supernatural.
Okay.
The spike in film and TV interest was heavily fueled by the release of Charles Berlitz's 1974 best-selling book, The Bermuda Triangle. Audience of the era were eager to explore the unknown, and filmmakers realized the Devil's Triangle was the perfect setting to blend various conspiracy theories in one spooky package. It goes on, but says here the lasting pop culture legacy. The enduring cinematic fascination with the triangle is less about scientific accuracy and more about psychological allure of the unknown. The concept continues to influence storytelling. You can dive deeper. Well, that's just Google, but I know I've seen so many movies that, like, are always about, like, we have to get to the island, but, like, there's only one way we can go.
The Bermuda Triangle.
Through the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
And so
and they made it like such a crazy. Well, I mean, that's cool that you mentioned Charles Berlitz, because we are going to touch on him. He has quite a heavy
he's a huge impact on the popularity of
huge impact
of it all
for the public. Well, let's just dive into a little bit of the historical backgrounds with the Bermuda Triangle. try and speed through a little bit of this because we do have stories specifically. Like Joey said, we are going to talk about Flight 19, which is one of the more crazy stories, I would say, for sure, with the Bermuda Triangle. But yeah, let's just kind of run through some of these. So the first thing that I kind of found, and that you can find a lot of this on Britannica.com / obviously Bermuda Triangle, all that kind of stuff. But the phrase Bermuda Triangle was created in 1964 by, again, like Charles, an author by the name of Arthur Vincent Gaddis in Argosy, who actually kind of talked about it in the magazine called Pulp. The Bermuda Triangle has heavy daily traffic that travels perfectly safe through the area. It's not really a lot of people like to speculate, like, oh yeah, you know, there's 300 to 400 to 500 you know, ships that have been lost, planes, all that kind of stuff. But really, there's not as much as you would expect, but you don't get a lot of that information until you kind of start diving into a couple things. Like you said, Charles Berlitz popularized the idea of the Bermuda Triangle in general, like coining that term, like the Bermuda Triangle. In his best-selling book, The Bermuda Triangle, that was published in 1974, in which he claimed that, and again, we're already starting to get into fringe shit, where he claimed Atlantis was involved. So Atlantean power and technology, all that kind of stuff, which we'll dive into a little bit later. But though its exact shape and dimensions are, as you know, the area is known as the Bermuda Triangle, it stretches approximately between Florida, the western side of Florida, Bermuda to the northeast, and Puerto Rico, part of the Greater Antilles, to the southeast. So that kind of gives it its triangular form and everything.
Pointed shape.
So the Greater Antilles is a large grouping of islands in the Caribbean, including Cuba, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, and Jamaica, together with Navassa. Again, I'm going to butcher a lot of these
We're American. We're
names, but
we're idiots, folks. Just bear with
us. Together with Navassa Islands and the Cayman Islands. So that kind of gives it its shape. You have, you know, Puerto Rico, you have the Caribbean, Cuba, all of those, and then they kind of stretch into the triangular shape. Approximations of the total area that ranges, which is crazy. When I did this research, I was like, damn, that's stretches a lot of fucking shit. So you have to imagine, like, the ocean takes up majority of the earth. You know, like, it takes up majority of the earth, which is crazy. But when you actually get into the numbers, it's even wilder to think about, especially like with Americans. Maybe it's not as much with like people in the UK, maybe, you know, people in Australia, our Aussie listeners.
Aussie.
You know,
I'm the night.
I'm the night. We go by miles. A lot of people go by kilometers. We're the only people who actually go by miles. But
which isn't it true? Like, it would be so much easier for us if we all just kind of
just went through a universal.
I'm pretty sure the kilometer system is way easier.
Way more.
Or something.
Yeah, way easier. But us laymen's in the States, we have to go by miles. So. I have an astonishing number for everybody here, which is crazy. The approximations of the total area range of like everything having to do with the Bermuda Triangle is between 500,000 and 1,510,000 square miles.
Sheesh.
That is the total area around like the Bermuda Triangle, which is crazy. And by all approximations, the region has vaguely a triangular shape. You know, that's why we have Bermuda Triangle, all that kind of stuff. And although reports of unexplained occurrences in the region date all the way to the mid-19th century, the phrase Bermuda Triangle, again, like Joe even brought up, didn't even come into use until like the mid-19th century or the mid-20th century. Didn't even come out till 1964. The phrase first appeared in print in, again, Pulp magazine, the article by Vincent Gaddis, who used the phrase to describe the triangular region as that has destroyed hundreds of ships and planes without a trace. But not all that information is accurate. So I'll actually leave that to you, Joey, if you want to read it.
Yeah, I can.
That's definitely not the case. It's not hundreds.
No, people over dramatize things because it makes it sound more interesting. Not to say that there haven't been lost ships and planes in this area, which, by the way, this area, for instance, I just was looking up some of the info on this. Based on the 500,000 to like 1,500,000 square miles, for reference, that's roughly the size of the country of South Africa and also twice the size of Texas, for those who are wanting to kind of put a mental image there. I just thought that was interesting. Might get a little interesting note there. I also was going to say, apparently, did you know? I knew that the world was made of 71% water, but did you realize that the Earth's water is 139 million square miles?
Oh,
so
shit.
Apparently there's a lot
so
of
you
water
think
on
of
the Earth.
you think of like 500,000. That's not even.
It doesn't seem that big, but
It's
when
not
you take
even
into
a
account
point.
like
You know, that's not
how
even a
huge
point.
South Africa is and how like being twice the size of Texas. I mean, when you think of America, Texas is one of the big honchos, you know.
Texas is one of the biggest. Yeah.
Anyway, so that said, yeah, they do kind of talk about how hundreds of these ships go and planes go missing without a trace. But despite its reputation, the Bermuda Triangle does not have that high incidences of disappearances. Disappearances do not occur with greater frequency in the Bermuda Triangle compared to like any other region of the Atlantic Ocean. In 2013, actually, the World Wildlife Fund conducted an exhaustive study of maritime shipping lanes and determined that the Bermuda Triangle is not one of the world's 10 most dangerous bodies of water for shipping, even though the Bermuda Triangle sustains heavy daily traffic, both sea and by air. The exact number of ships and airplanes that have disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle is not known, but the most common estimate that they give currently is about around 50 ships and like 20 airplanes. So it's really like
Which is not a lot when you think of how.
No, it's immensely lower than people. Which is
people
again
try to
another,
say that like, you know, hundreds of thousands of airplanes and ships go down over there, but it's really not even.
And this is why I was curious about the cinema thing.
Know?
I mean, it's gotten so popularized that it's like a main key point in movies that like, oh, we can't go past there, like the storms and the weather conditions, like we will be lost at sea.
The aliens are going to take us.
The aliens are going to take us.
Like,
it's wild. There's at least 2 incidences in the region that involved U.S. military craft. In March of 1918, the Collier USS Cyclops, a ship used to transport coal en route to Baltimore, Maryland from Brazil, disappeared inside the Bermuda Triangle. No explanation was given for its disappearance, and no wreckage was found. It was 20 to 30 years later, a squadron of bombers collectively known as Flight 19 under American Lieutenant Charles Carroll Taylor also disappeared in the airspace above the Bermuda Triangle. As in the Cyclops incident, no explanation was given for how they went missing, and no wreckage was found as well. These 2 events specifically is something we're going to talk about later. So like, it's not that there's no incidences at all, but I think like we mentioned earlier, I mean, where was it? It was about something about 13. I'm so sorry, folks, because now I want to reread that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, now I can't find it. I don't want to quote something incorrectly, but I mean, when you take into account, it was mentioning that basically there's no means of saying that there's more ships and planes going missing in the Bermuda Triangle
Then there are
airspace
in,
and
like,
water
the
than it is in
northern,
the
like,
greater Pacific Ocean. You know?
yeah.
So like it's just a crazy thing that it's gotten so popularized over these years. We were talking about Charles Berlitz. Am I in the right spot? Yeah. We were talking about him. He popularized the legend of the Bermuda Triangle in his best-selling book, The Bermuda Triangle.
Very original name.
Very original name.
Yeah.
Very popular. You know, straight to the point.
Straight to the point, yeah. 1974.
It'd be like me writing a book
yeah.
and it's just called Jack in the Box, and
and you're like, oh my god, no way he's talking about Jack in the Box right now. Like, there's no fucking way, because Charles Berlitz didn't even really. There was someone before him. I'm not gonna go too far into it until we actually like start reading everything about it. But he actually was not the first person to talk about like, hey, maybe there's weird shit going on. His book kind of became a lot more famous just due to the time. Again, you had the Cyclops and you had like Flight 19 kind of happened. Those were like the really big incidences that happen in the Bermuda Triangle area.
The ones that people often reference as like the Bermuda Triangle disappearances.
Exactly. So, I mean, yeah, he kind of popularized it, but I wouldn't say he was like the first person that really kind of claimed like, hey, maybe there's something going on over here.
One of the things that he mentions in his book that had a lot to do with why it got popularized was he claimed in the book that the fabled island of Atlantis was involved in the disappearances. So, I mean, now I'm kind of curious. We'll have an episode on Atlantis, folks, but I'm curious when Atlantis got popularized, because this had to have been far before it, right? I mean...
Oh, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, if we're talking about it in 1974, it's got to be...
I'm gonna
look it up right now. If you, yeah.
Going on with some of our other notes about the historical details of this greater tale and landmark. When we think of a compass, we know that there is magnetic north and true north, but there's somewhere on Earth that does not have to worry about this difference, and that is known as the agonic line. I apologize, everyone, for my horrible pronunciation.
It's all right. You tried your best.
Agonic line.
Yeah.
How would you pronounce that?
I'm
going to go with
agonic.
agonic.
The same way, yeah. Agonic
line sometimes passes through the Bermuda Triangle, including a period in the early 20th century. The agonic line is a place on Earth's surface where true north and magnetic north align, and there is no need to account for magnetic uh, declination on a compass. There's also several environmental factors that help explain why ships and planes disappear in the Bermuda Triangle. The area is like highly susceptible to tropical storms and hurricanes, which that's one of the most popular things that you see when you see like hear stories or see cinematic or just video retellings of the Bermuda Triangle.
Well,
It's
it's
always
the stuff
seen
that
as
makes the most sense.
makes
It
it
makes the
captivating.
most sense for sure. I mean, even with us, I mean, we were Disney kids growing up, you know. We've made that pretty known, but
Yeah.
I mean, even with Pirates of the Caribbean, and even with our episode with pirates, you know, Pirate's Life for Me. That I don't remember what season that was, but we went through that, and you can clearly see things could be perfect. You know, things can be absolutely perfect, everything going for you, and then one storm fucking hits, and it takes out everything. You know, like it takes out everything. Not even ships, but we've even seen it take out little settlements. Like we've seen it take out like some of the biggest people in pirate history. You know, it doesn't matter how big, how bad you are, but these storms, they're crazy. And especially if you're living in the U.S., and specifically for us, living in the West Coast, we have not seen a detrimental storm that can hit even just on the East Coast of the Americas, you know? I mean, we just don't see it. We just don't see it over here because we don't have that climate. But you have these people who are out here in the Caribbean islands. You have these people out here around like Cuba, Puerto Rico, like all these other places where the Bermuda Triangle resides, where it's like you could probably have perfect weather, and then in 30 minutes you could just have a catastrophe, right? Is that, yeah. You could have something like that happening within like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, you know? And it could take people out, and you just have no control over it. You have no control over something like that. So it's a different world depending on where you lived, like geography wise. You can't do anything about it, you know? Same thing with people having like twisters and hurricanes, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you know, even on land, you can have some crazy shit happen, you know. We have it pretty light. We have earthquakes, you know, and
although lately I feel like
people are talking about the fact that we're probably going to have a big one, and when we have a big one,
actually ours,
we're going to go through it.
Because I was just going to say, I feel like where we live in California, everybody's like, oh yeah, you know, the earthquakes must be crazy. Honestly, I feel like our earthquakes are
they're light. Yeah, they're light. They're light.
I think what our crazy disaster that often happens much more regularly is fires.
Yeah,
fires.
Yeah, we have fires.
We have a crazy one right now, don't we?
Yeah. We have a fire over here currently. It jumped to Riverside and Harupa Valley,
like
all that kind of stuff.
500 acres or something like that, right?
900 acres. Wow, 900 acres.
Yeah,
but we have that about every year. You know, we have that about every year. At least with earthquakes, they're like, oh, well, within maybe 10 years, we're going to have a big one. And when you have a big one, you're kind of fucked up. You don't have a choice, you know?
Through and you can feel the whole house shaking. I feel like I'm the kind of guy who's like, this is so fucking cool.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
I'm going to be the asshole who dies because I'll be too excited during an actual detrimental earthquake.
You're bad, huh? That's crazy. And then, I don't know, a fucking bookshelf or a ceiling.
The ceiling will fall on me.
Falls on you and you're dead, you know? But I mean, it's cool on the way out, I guess. I don't know.
Did they travel through the Bermuda Triangle at any point in the Pirates of the Caribbean? I don't remember.
I don't know. I
something they
honestly
would
don't
do.
know.
I remember
Because
one
we,
of the
we had
first.
Davy Jones' locker, but I don't know if
That's true.
I don't know if that was through the Bermuda Triangle. I don't know.
I remember
But
one
I
of the
will
first times
say-
I saw it was in Journey 2.
Oh, that's
Journey to
crazy.
the
Yeah,
Center of the
so
Earth sequel.
it's so crazy how different we grew up because you saw it first in Journey and I saw it first in Unsolved Mysteries. So we live a different life. We live a different life.
Little different.
Shout out motherhood episode. You guys can listen
if you
all
wanna
about
see how we were
the
raised
changes.
differently.
But I do have an answer for you about Atlantis
Yes,
and
okay.
it going into popular media. So Atlantis, and this is just on random Google search. This
Yeah,
isn't
so
anything crazy.
Take it with a grain of salt.
But
Sure.
we have Atlantis first skyrocketing in the U.S., especially like popular media, around like 1882 with the publication of Atlantis, the Antediluvian World. I think that's how you say it. A former congressman from Minnesota, Donnelly, framed the mythological city as a real technologically advanced lost continent, which sparked a massive national obsession. You can find that on history.com. Just look up Atlantis, all that kind of stuff. But someone we have talked about before, which I really want to do an episode on, and you will remember the name for sure. That was in the 80s. The legend has several major waves of mainstream popularity, but in the 1930s to the 1940s, guess who brought it to popular media at that point? It was my man, Edgar Casey, which
He did. Hold on. This isn't Mothman, is it?
Nah. It's
Who's
not
the Mothman
Mothman,
guy?
but that's John Keel. John
Oh,
Keel.
No,
but
wait. Edgar Casey. I
Edgar
feel like
Casey.
he did. Bigfoot.
We've talked about it. We've talked about it on the
Bigfoot?
podcast. Nope.
Aliens.
Nope. Well,
God damn it.
I mean, aliens come into it, yeah. But Edgar Casey was the sleeping prophet. This is the guy who went through a whole bunch of childhood trauma, would sleep on top of a book. Like he would have a book sit on his head, like under his pillow, and he would just memorize the book. And he would just sit here and like tell people like, oh yeah, no, like I have all this hidden knowledge and like I don't know what it is, but I can learn from the front to the back page of a book. As long as I sleep on it, I
Wow.
can learn from it. And he was the person who, again, the sleeping prophet, he would go into a trance and people would go to him like therapy wise, and he would tell people like, oh yeah, like you're sick and this is what you have to do to get rid of the sickness. Like, I mean, there's even people who like went in with cancer and he was like, yeah, if you take this root with this root and like just a whole bunch of like crazy stuff. He's like, if you can combine these like 3 or 4 things, you can get better. And these people would do it and their cancer would go away.
Really? Wow,
Yeah,
I
it
don't
would
even-
be, it
I
would be
feel
like
like
this cancer would go away, this illness would go away. And there was even stuff where they're like, if a person ingested this is like poison to them. And he's like, well, it's only poison if you don't mix it with this, and that. And people would test it and it would work. And so he was called the sleeping prophet. And there was a whole bunch of stuff having to do with Edgar Casey. I mean, there's a whole school dedicated to Edgar Casey and like the people who followed him. And trying to learn from him, and it's like a college-based level school where these people went through a whole bunch of classes, and it's from his teachings. His wife would write down every single thing he would say and like all of his trance states, like all that kind of stuff. And people study his words like it's a religion, I guess, you know. But a lot of it works, you know, a lot of it works. And he went through a lot of scrutiny, obviously, you know, someone trying to claim that they got all this stuff.
Well,
and
it's like somebody trying to claim that there's a talking mongoose in there.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. See, you get it. And but one of his biggest things, again, like tying it back to everything we're talking about right now, was after a while when he was doing these readings, he would say, "Oh yeah, you're descendant of an Atlantean." And people were like, "What? Like, what do you mean?"
Oh, you know,
and he would go through,
vaguely.
yeah. That I think that's what we kind of really covered. But he would talk about like, "Oh yeah, like, you're a descendant of an Atlantean. You have these powers and these abilities that a lot of people don't understand. They don't believe you. They don't think anything of it. And the reason why people don't understand you is because you're not really a normal person, you know, like you're an Atlantean, you're a descendant of these higher beings." And that's I think where like a lot of the scrutiny came from, like people not believing in what he's saying, all that kind of stuff. But the crazy thing is he grew up as a devout Southern Baptist. He didn't even believe in what he was saying to begin with because he didn't believe in reincarnation. You know, he didn't believe in, he's like, "Oh yeah, I mean, like I get these messages or whatever, but I'm not going to necessarily say I believe in like what I'm saying because I'm in a trance state. I'm not even like fully cognitively aware of whatever." You know, but I mean, he lived and he died a devout Christian who didn't necessarily believe in everything he was saying, but the stuff he was saying was working. You know, they were working for people. So a little bit of a crazy situation, I guess, you know.
No, that's crazy.
Crazy situation, but I know we've talked about it before. Like we definitely want to try and do an Edgar Casey episode, but there's so much that goes into that. I mean, it would be a lot of research. It would be a lot of research, but I will say, I do have a first edition book of one of his books that his son released based off of his dad's teaching. So
that's cool.
I think that was pretty cool. And I got that shit for like $15.
Oh, nice.
Just some random person didn't know what they were selling. I looked in it and I was like, "Oh my God, dude, this is a first edition. That's crazy." You know, so I have one of those. But yeah, no, I mean, he has multiple books. He has, you know, a whole school, I guess, dedicated to him and his name. So yeah, pretty wild. But yeah, he was really one of the first people to kind of put it into fruition of like, oh, like Atlantis could be an actual place. This could be an actual you know, thing. And then kind of just was made popular by other people, you know. Other people taking it, running with it, and then once the Bermuda Triangle kind of came out, and then
1930s.
1930s to 1940s. Edgar Casey kind of made it big, and then
Did you
again
say
from
something?
1960s
I feel like I
to
misheard
70s.
you,
That
but
was.
Did you say something about it, like there being tell of Atlantis or something of it in like the 1800s? I feel like
the 1800s.
Was I wrong? Did I hear that incorrectly?
Yeah, 1882.
1882. So, I mean, yeah,
1882. It first kind of skyrocketed in the popularity.
So I mean, it's been a long time.
It was a book called it was Atlantis, the Antediluvian World, and that was from a U.S. congressman. So that started over here in the U.S. and
it's interesting because that just speaks more to like why when I'm already forgetting his name, Berlitz.
Yeah.
Berlitz, why when he would like attribute some of the disappearances of the Bermuda Triangle to Atlantis, that, I mean, this was already a well documented or popularized idea, you know, so like for him to kind of take it under his belt to be like, well, you know, why?
Atlanteans, dude. Atlanteans, these water type beings, I guess, you know.
Atlantis is
so
a cool concept.
Dude, I love I love the movie by Disney, Atlantis.
Definitely needs a live action remake, if we're gonna just keep pumping those out. Like,
see, I want Treasure Planet before I want Atlantis.
I agree, but
it has to be Drake Bell though.
Planet,
Drake Bell's gotta play my boy.
At the box office.
It did. It bombed at the box office, but yet they already had a second movie storyboarded out, sad. And then they just, dude.
That could be an interesting chillcast. Is movies that were going to be made that didn't make it. All the way.
Early 2000 movies specifically, for sure. No, but you had all of that, and then just to kind of finish the point of where we were at with the agonic line. I don't know if you touched on this, so I'm just gonna reread this real quick. Sure. But with the agonic line, it sometimes passes through the Bermuda Triangle specifically, which is interesting, and including a period in the early 20th century, so that's like the early 1900s, all that kind of stuff. The agonic line is a place on the Earth's surface where true north and magnetic north align, which will be important when you come to Flight 19, all that kind of stuff, because that does come up. But true north and magnetic north align, and that means that there is no need for taking into account I think it's 12 degrees difference between north and magnetic north. Several environmental factors help explain the ships and the planes disappearing in the Bermuda Triangle. That's one of them. The area is highly, also, like you said, susceptible to tropical storms, hurricanes, and is shaped by the Gulf Stream. That's also a powerful ocean current that causes sudden severe weather changes, which is pretty crazy. I mean, it can go from flat water to just like a crazy, storm in a matter of minutes, which is wild. But the deepest point in the Atlantic Ocean is also the Milwaukee Depth, which is located coincidentally in the Bermuda Triangle. So this coincides with the Bermuda Puerto Rico Trench, and that trench itself reaches a depth of 27,500 feet at the Milwaukee Depth. So crazy stuff. I mean, it's essentially kind of like the Mariana Trench, where it's, it's like 1.5 miles down or something like that. So
it's definitely not going to be a nice sea voyage necessarily if you're going through there. It's just
I mean, like you could have a safe passage. You could have a safe passage, but unless something happens, then it's a detrimental point to go through. So it's pretty I mean, it's pretty crazy. It's just a crazy thing that you have to kind of navigate. Again, like we said before, it's one of the most heavily trafficked places to kind of go through. And even for someone who is super into the paranormal, super into like the unexplainable side of everything, even I'm kind of like, if it's super heavily trafficked, I don't think it's necessarily as bad as people make it out to be. It's just bad because it already had a bad name within history.
Mm-hmm.
And then people just continue with the legend.
That's the thing.
You know?
I mean, not
So,
everything. Part of the enjoyment of the supernatural and the unknown here at the Woodsman is the unknown part of it, but it's also like not everything has to be a fucking goblin or ghoul, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes there are just
there's unfortunately a
crazy
mundane
world.
answer. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make it any less
answer
scary.
that doesn't make sense.
It's definitely a crazy section of the world to think of how insane the what am I trying to say? The storms and the hurricanes and the water cycles can be like, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there's like some kind of demonic or ghostly presence that are stealing people. It's not, I would say, like, for to kind of bring it into the idea of other Woodsman topics, I think there's something very much, a lot more unexplainable in the supernatural light when it comes to like the missing 411, when you take into like why these specific areas in, you know, national parks are also lining up to why people are going missing. There's not explainable like, oh, there's always going to be a tornado here, there's always earthquakes here.
Yeah.
These are happening all over the place and nobody can explain or don't want to explain what's happening over there. So like there's it's not to put down how crazy the
because
Bermuda
there's weird
Triangle
stuff.
is.
There's weird stuff, and like we're gonna get into that right now with the stories that we have for these, because I think the two stories that we kind of found for this episode are kind of ones where it's like you have some explainable stuff, but at the same time you're like, but can it be explainable for this amount of, you know, unseen forces or external forces? Like, you know, there's only so much credence you can give to certain things where you're like, oh, well, yeah, this could happen. But you have 5 of those at the same time with multiple different things. You're like, you know, you kind of have to look at the external force behind it and kind of tell yourself like, well, maybe it's not all just an explainable brush aside occurrence, which we will definitely go through. But like you said, I mean, there's certain things that you can explain away, and then there's certain things where you kind of have to take a step back and you have to think like, hey, maybe
what's going on here?
Maybe there's more going on, you know, than we like to believe or like that we like to say for sure. So for this first story, we're just gonna kind of read them off, and then
if we want to,
we'll discuss them.
Pause or talk. During
we
or after
wrote them in a story version of everything, so
I didn't.
we did, we did.
Brent.
But we kind of just wrote them in a story type of version, and we can just kind of go through everything.
Yeah, the two that we're going to be going over are the ones that we mentioned in the beginning, the case of the Flight 19 and the USS Cyclops. Yeah.
So we were originally going to start with Flight 19 because that's like one of the more famous ones, but we decided due to the years,
order of events, the timeline,
the order of the events and everything, we decided let's do the USS Cyclops because that happened in 1918 in World War I. So Joey, if you want to take that one away, you can read that.
Yeah, so reading off the notes that I definitely had a part in.
You did.
In March of 1918, during the height of the World War I, This 542 foot steel naval collier. I still don't know how to say that. Pronounce that collier.
Probably Collier or Collier or what.
Yeah,
I
one
don't
of the
know if it was
largest
French, but
transport vessels in the U.S. Navy was tasked with a critical wartime mission, carrying roughly 11,000 tons of dense manganese ore from Brazil to Baltimore. After an unscheduled resupply stop in Barbados, the Cyclops
Barbados.
Barbados.
That's fair.
My bad. The Cyclops, and I wasn't a history buff, folks. I wasn't an anything buff.
I was just trying to get through school.
I've never been buff. Look at me. Anyway.
Oh shit.
The Cyclops and its 309 passengers and crew vanished into the Atlantic. A final chillingly routine message from the ship read simply, "Weather fair, all well." Following those words, there was only absolute permanent silence. No distress signal was ever broadcast. No wreckage field was ever located. And not a single body was recovered. It remains the largest non-combat loss of life in U.S. naval history. Because the ship disappeared so completely, the tragedy became a foundational cornerstone for what the world later calls the Bermuda Triangle. Crucially, the Cyclops vanished decades before that mythic phrase was even coined, meaning the tragedy wasn't a story invented to fit a legend. Rather, the legend was born because the sheer reality of the disappearance was too staggering for the public mind to accept. To understand how such a erasure happens, one must look at a perfect storm of physical and human vulnerabilities. On board, the environment was highly fractured. The ship's commander, Lieutenant Commander George Worley, was a vital, paranoid German-born officer who was deeply disliked by his crew. Amid the intense paranoia of World War I, his eccentric behavior and heritage fueled heavy rumors of mutiny, sabotage, or pro-German treason. Yet, while human malice is a tempting explanation, the physical reality of the ship's cargo points to a deeply saddening conclusion. The Cyclops was severely overloaded with manganese ore, an incredibly heavy and unstable cargo that is notoriously dangerous. I apologize, because it can shift suddenly and violently in rough seas. Compounding this danger, the ship was reportedly listing before departure and operating with a fractured, malfunctioning cylinder in its starboard engine, which that's interesting because when you bring up the fact that they mentioned one of the last things that was broadcast was fair seas, all is well, like
everything's good.
Like, nothing to be worried about. But I just find that interesting.
And then you kind of have to wonder, like, who was the one that sent the message saying that? Like, was it, him? Was it?
What did it say?
If there's a mutiny going on, it was a giant. It was a giant freighter, pretty much.
Naval collier.
Yeah, so it was a naval ship. Collier is just a ship that transports coal.
I see.
Yeah, stuff like that. So, it wasn't a ship that was sitting there with like a shit ton of guns, ready to, battle, fight off whoever. It was just a transport ship, essentially. So
there wasn't meant to be any weird happenings.
Yeah, it wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't supposed to see really combat. It was just oversee transport and getting it through. But like you read, World War I, you had a German captain. There's got to be at least some sort of like I don't know if I trust this guy. I don't know if I unfortunately, that's just kind of how it is. I know you have German roots in your family. I mean, he didn't even
I don't
have
know what
to
you're
be
talking about.
like, like he didn't have to be like 70, 80, 90% German. I mean, he could have just been like, oh, well, someone in my family was German, like say
this was a different time in the world.
my great grandfather could have, married a,
Yeah.
American woman,
This was a
lived
point
life,
in history where
like
even if you had a little bit of a heritage that people had problems with or were skeptical of,
the
like,
race value just was there.
Yeah.
It was just there. So, again, we don't really know. We didn't reach that far into that,
Yeah.
side of it, but you could tell. I mean, if there's tensions, it would make sense. I mean, it's essentially,
I mean, anything could have happened on that ship.
Germany lost in World War One, and that's kind of how you really got the uprising in World War Two. So
Mhm.
you never know. You never know the quality of whoever and
Yeah.
how they felt, how they viewed whoever. But yeah, you
Well,
definitely went through a lot. So I
going
don't know if you want to
back into this
continue,
just to
but
I can just finish it off from where we were at, just to kind of list some of the last bit of history on this.
yeah,
Continuing, modern oceanographers and naval historians increasingly point to structural failure or a rogue wave, a sudden massive wall of water capable of snapping a compromised hull in two, as the most logical explanations. If a rogue wave struck or the cargo shifted instantly, the ship would have capsized or broken apart in a matter of seconds. The electrical grid would have died instantly. The radio room would have flooded. The crew would have been left with physically zero time to broadcast any SOS. In an area of the Atlantic that is profoundly deep, violently current driven, and prone to sudden weather shifts, the ocean would have likely swallowed the evidence before a single piece of debris could float to the surface, which is horrifying.
yeah, yeah,
Despite decades of extensive Navy searches, official investigations, and modern deep sea technology, no confirmed trace of the wreck has ever been identified. It is this total lack of evidence that pushes the case out of the history books and into almost mythic territory. A wide variety of fringe and paranormal theories range from magnetic anomalies and dimensional rifts to sea monsters and UFOs. These theories survive not because they are likely, but because they are comforting. In the end, the true horror of the USS Cyclops is psychological. It forces the public to confront a fundamental human fear of the realization that something massive, heavy, loud, and full of life can be reduced to nothingness in a heartbeat, transforming the ocean into a vast void where our certainty completely collapses, which is so true. I mean, like, you take into account, not to like compare the two, but like you think about like the Titanic, something you just aren't ready for
yeah,
can
yeah.
change the situation. And it was like you were mentioning in the beginning or earlier, how like in Pirates of the Caribbean or pirate movies, or like we talked about in the Pirate's Life for Me episode, how like just dramatic weather changes, something so natural and part of the Earth's, core, could just completely change everything about the mission, the journey. It's crazy to think that something so huge, something so prominent and probably very well known, like people were expecting this ship to arrive, I'm sure, to think that it's just gone. Like, it's weird that it makes sense why I like how part of this mentioned what makes it become more of a mythical question rather than just an unknown circumstance is because this happened before the Bermuda Triangle got popularized so much.
Yeah.
You know, like it happened before, so it's not that it's
because it wasn't even coined until the 60s. So I mean, you have something like this that happens in like 1918, where it's like you're like, what the hell? Like, how does a cargo freighter with 300 plus people? I mean,
without a
how
trace,
does it just? How is it just
also,
gone? You know,
it
it's
mentioned
just gone.
that even with new age technology, we still haven't found it, which is a great point.
Yeah.
We have way better means of searching for lost shit. These days.
No, yeah,
And
100%.
The fact that not a body, not DNA, not metal pieces, not
no bones, no
signs of
anything,
life.
anything.
I mean, nothing.
Yeah.
So I mean,
and I
that
mean,
is,
it adds to the lore, and I mean, you could definitely play it off as oh well, maybe a rogue wave hit. I mean, you could even say because it's a coal transporter. What if a fire broke out on the ship and what if something exploded? Boom, it takes the ship down. Like it said, it's in a very deep part of the ocean. What if it just explodes? Everything goes down. Everyone dies. They drown. And then no one, by the time any help arrives or whatever, it's just gone. But like you read, the last signal that came out was, weather's fair.
Everything's good.
Nothing's going on. Everything's good.
The thing that makes the Bermuda Triangle so captivating is the fact that people, ships, things disappear without a trace. It's similar to the 411 like captivation, where it's like
1 minute something's there, 1 minute it's just gone. It's gone. There is no other
wiped from history.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes it crazy. It's not my spooky side, but I mean it's my willingness to believe that anything can happen type of side is like, oh, what if something crazy happened? But you also have all of the other physical evidence where you're like, well, I mean, a multitude of different things could happen.
Yeah.
But the weird part is just there was nothing else. There's just nothing else. There is no, you would think if, say, something caught on fire, a part of the ship exploded, you would think like someone would go in, say, hey, mayday, this happened, we need help.
Because you're trained.
There's none of that,
crisis,
there's none of that,
you should be doing especially if you're in the middle of the fucking sea.
Yeah. And it's World War I. It's World War I.
You would
it's
want
not
to
even
send out any kind of like last moment of your life signal for help that you could. Even if you couldn't do it, which is crazier, you would think that there were precautions and things set up so that people like if there was a worst case scenario, we could
not even
at
that,
least
but like a flare,
Anything.
or something, and just the fact that there's nothing, it kind of makes you wonder, like, well, what the fuck was it then? What, like, what was it? And it doesn't have to be paranormal. I mean, like, what if there was hidden submarine programs and the sub hit it and then, people didn't know what was going on. They, unfortunately they drown. But you would also think that if someone drowned, there would be life jackets found. There'd be life jackets found. There'd be debris. There'd be anything.
I looked up when the first invention of a submarine was made.
Yeah.
Take a fucking wild guess.
I'm gonna say early 1900s.
The first verifiable submarine was built in 1620 by Dutch inventor Cornelius Drebbel.
I'm sorry, what?
It was an enclosed leather-covered
1600s?
1600. It was an enclosed leather-covered rowboat that successfully submerged and was propelled by oars beneath the surface of London River's Thames. Thames?
Yeah, Thames. River Thames.
Like, that's fucking
What?
crazy. Sorry, I was curious since you mentioned submarines.
1600s?
1600. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not what we consider submarines these days, but it was
no, but I mean, like,
completely
what?
submersed vessel that was propelled. I mean, that's fucking crazy.
That's wild. That's wild. Okay, well, I mean, that would further the, I don't know, the conspiracy. I mean, if it was, a submarine or whatever, but
the first
military
military one was in 1775, and the first like modern-esque one was in 1897.
Well, then again, that would still make sense because we're in 1918.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I just don't understand, like how
Crazy, dude.
Like, wow. Well, yeah. I mean, we can go in our conclusions on how we feel about these a little bit later on, but let's get through one of the craziest. And I remember when we were texting before this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I had said, like, I actually knew a little bit about some of these before we went into it. And this story is one of them. And this is the story of Flight 19 that happened in 1945. So I'd like to read this one again. This is, again, 1945. The last one was in 1918. So you have an entire world war difference. I mean, you have World War I for the last thing that we talked about. This is World War II. And I'd like to start off by saying anything that's involved with this story, anytime we talk about miles or anything like that, I'd like to start off with saying miles, nautical miles. We're going to talk about nautical miles, anything having to do with distance in this is going to be nautical miles. So I figured I would say right at the beginning that if you're thinking about driving distance, 1.15, so 1.15 miles driving distance equals 1 nautical mile. So it's a little bit over a regular mile when you're talking about going overseas. The definitive and the most widely recommended book on this subject as well. Obviously, we do everything last minute, so I did not read this book, but I I pulled a lot of stuff from this book. If you wanted a lot of information on it, I would definitely recommend reading this book. But it's called The Disappearance of Flight 19 by an actual aviation researcher and investigative writer named Larry Kusch. And the book was originally published in 1980, so I would definitely recommend trying to find a first edition of this book, because from what I did read excerpt-wise, it's a really good fucking book, especially for the 1980s. It reads very modern, so, but yeah, like I had said to Joey before for the last story, kind of I typed these in story form. So yeah, on December 5th of 1945, 5 U.S. Navy TBM Avenger torpedo bombers, which are the planes, those are the actual planes, lifted off from the Naval Air Station in Fort Lauderdale in Florida for a routine training flight called Navigation Problem Number 1. 14 men in 5 planes, which I will say is supposed to be 15 men in 5 planes. But one of the men backed out last minute. There's speculation on like if he had a hangover or if he had a dream or anything like that. He ended up backing out last minute the day of. So it was 3 people to a plane. There was 5 planes.
Gotcha. Okay.
He left, so that means that one plane had 2 people. The other planes had 3. It was a simple route east to Hens and Chickens Shoals that was north. So they were going from east to north, then back southwest to the base. The U.S. Navy Flight Log in 1945, Naval History and Heritage Command actually had that information. So if you want to look that up. But it should have been a short, uneventful afternoon. But about 90 minutes in, so it's an hour and a half, right? Yeah, hour and a half.
Yeah.
Confusion crawled over the radio. And by the way, you can read these radio logs. Like
cool.
you can actually read these. These are on the actual U.S. Navy and Air Force website. It was a 500-page document on their disappearance. This is like a really big. This is a big thing. This is a very heavily documented thing. So anyone who wants to actually read the logs, like you can find the actual logs. You can find the actual the recorded over the airwaves people talking like through this entire thing. So you can find these. Very easy to find. You just type of Flight 19 and then you go through it. There's even some on YouTube that you can find as well if you don't want to go through the whole thing. But so this was over the radio. The squadron leader, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, who was an experienced combat pilot with thousands of hours, he was only 29 years old, 27, 29 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, very young. Very young. Reportedly not familiar with the Florida Bahamas region, which was interesting because they flew out of Key West, which is in Florida. Began reporting instrument trouble. He, quote, said, "Both my compasses are out." So he had 2 compasses. Both of them went out. He also said, yeah. he also said, and I quote, I'm over land, but it's broken land. So I'm not too sure what that means, but it sounds like maybe the land was islands. Maybe it was over islands,
Guess.
Something like that. And you can, again, find that on official Navy transmissions, December 5th, 1945. And that was quoted in Koosh in 1975 in the book. His men challenged the headings, and they believed that they were closer to Florida than Taylor insisted. Convinced they'd reached the Keys already, Taylor may have turned the formation farther east, unintentionally steering them into the open Atlantic. You can find this in Naval Investigation Summary of 1945. Then came lines that froze the public imagination. He said, and I quote, "We can't tell where we are. Everything is wrong."
Oh, God.
And the oft-quoted eerie observation, he also said, "Even the ocean doesn't look as it should."
Oh, fuck that,
which is
dude.
very interesting.
That's terrible.
And again, like I'm trying to read all of like these insight quotations because it just kind of proves the validity of like what he's saying. Like, I'm not making this shit up. I'm not making this up. Again, you can find these in the radio transcripts in 1945, and Berlitz, Charles Berlitz, also quotes this in 1974 in his book. As daylight fell and the weather worsened, the pilots flew without landmarks against the Gulf Stream, which we had talked about a little bit. Unfortunately, not only was the lighting going down, but the fuel was as well. Taylor ordered the formation. Again, this was a training exercise. So these people were, they were young guys trying to train for World War II. This was not like they weren't in World War II fighting and having to worry about this is a training exercise. So you have like all these really young guys. Again, people get drafted at 18 years old. So they think of how young some of these guys were going through this and how scared you have to be being that young. We're 25 and 26 years old. I couldn't imagine going through this. So imagine being 17, 18, 19.
Yeah, that's crazy. I was an idiot at 17.
Going through something like this is just crazy. Man, it's sad to kind of read these because they died. You're reading it and this is what they actually went through.
Well, for all we know.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. So again, against the Gulf Stream and light going down, it's getting dark, and with dwindling fuel, Taylor ordered them to stay together and prepare to ditch when fuel became critical. So he was already trying to tell these guys, once the fuel runs out, jump out.
Get out of there.
Yeah. Transmissions grew fragmented, weaker, and then eventually they stopped. And you can, again, hear all of this in the Navy search logs for the NHHC. When a Martin PBM, again, a actual aircraft Mariner launched from Fort Lauderdale to search for the Avengers, the story darkened even further, and that rescue aircraft with 13 men aboard also vanished, never to be seen again. So now you have a total of 6 aircrafts, with over 20 people gone.
What the?
They're just gone. No survivors. Not all elements need the supernatural though. Even though it sounds very much like what the fuck, especially with that. It'd be a little bit different if the Flight 19 crew kind of ran out of fuel and they just had to jump out or whatever. But when you get to the fact that the actual search and rescue also disappeared with 13 people on it, it's a little bit different. But I will read the I will read the version with people trying to explain it away.
Okay.
The PBM Mariner had a reputation amongst crews as, quote, a flying gas tank. Several investigators concluded it likely exploded mid-air from fuel vapor ignition. I don't believe that at all, but for sure, that's just me. And a nearby tanker reported seeing an explosion and an oil slick near the time of the Mariner disappearing. And you can find that in search and rescue with witness reports from Cush's book in 1975. That likely explains the rescue plane, even if it doesn't solve the entire Flight 19 mystery itself. Part of the mystery endures because of the ocean. The Atlantic here is extraordinarily deep, as we've talked about before. It's shaped by strong currents like the Gulf Stream, again, like we've also talked about, and the shifting seafloor due to it being super powerful and pushing through.
Yeah.
The wreckage can sink. It can sink fast. It can break apart. It can be buried or drift far from any, last time the radio was used. The TBM Avengers are known to quickly in heavy seas have naval loss, put together human error with instrument failure and failing lights, rough weather, instrument failure in general as far as compasses and everything. With the unforgivable ocean, you have a real documented event who pretty much had a bad point of luck, through the entire thing. But because of this, it's kind of like cemented a lot within the legend of Charles's book, The Bermuda Triangle. It kind of just made really good source material for him, as well as the
of course.
The Colossus or all
Well,
that. So
the base level of mystery, which is that people go missing, would be this would be a great story to fuel. The book and
you can kind of just take it. You can run with it. You can be like, oh, well, look at this, and but
I mean. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was just gonna read. I mean, there's a couple sources obviously for this. I mean, again, you have Charles's book. You have, again. I don't want to go without discussing anything without bringing up the fact that you do have the U.S. Navy radio transcripts and the actual logs. Like you can look at the transcripts itself.
Mm-hmm.
From 1945 that listed in December 5th. And you can find it on the Naval History and Heritage Command / Navy Archives. So you can definitely find like everything. You can find like everything that was said by the time they realized something was wrong to the time that they stopped responding, so you can go through that entire thing. There's even MP3 of some of the conversation as well. You can definitely hear Taylor talk about the fact that he didn't know where they were at. He was very confused, all that kind of stuff. You also have Charles Berlitz's book, The Bermuda Triangle Mystery, and that was in 1975. And then you have the Bermuda Triangle that was put out in 1974. So you have like all of those. You have all those type of things. It's a really sad story, You kind of think, and we didn't even scratch the surface. I mean, there's so much more on like the individual people who were, there. There was a kid that registered to be in the war at 15.
Oh.
And he faked his identity to get in to be in World War II because he wanted to serve his country. And by the time they went up there, he was 17. He was just changing his identity back to his actual family name and everything. No longer seen again. I mean, there's no, he's just gone. He's just gone. And like I said, Taylor was only 29. 29 years old. And he's the lieutenant. I mean, he's the guy who's training all these people. Gone. So it's a really sad story when you put personal a personal level to it. It's different from the Cyclops because I mean, with the Cyclops, you have 300 plus people. With this, you have 14. You have 14 people, and they just wanted to serve their country, and they were in a spot where they thought they were fine, going through a routine, training. They
Well,
never
I
came
think-
back. You know, they never came back, and
I
even
think
the
one
search and
thing
rescue
that
boat
speaks
gone.
to
you
the
know,
mystery, of it is, or like adding to the mystery, is it is quite crazier that a group of like over 300 guys go missing and you can't find any of them. And it seems almost less crazy to think that maybe 15 or so people could go missing, or a little over 20. But
Yeah.
when you think about like the fact that this all happened around the same parameters, the same area of effect, and
Yeah.
they still haven't found traces of either. And these are only two stories. Like these are only two examples.
we're in 2026. I mean, you look at the
Like-
Colossus. That's over 100 years.
You'd think
You know,
that
like-
one of these stories, one of these groups of people, even a single plane or shard of metal, would actually be found. But the fact that both and even more
Yeah.
have not been found is why the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle is so popular, because it's one of those things. You can sit here and create reasons for why they may have gone missing, but why they have not been found, and so many have not been found in
Yeah.
the same large mass of area. That's more the question of like, what's going on? Why have we not found it yet? Are we just not looking hard enough, or are we looking plenty and something's not allowing us to find it? You know?
Yeah. No, literally. And it's sad, dude. I mean, it's sad. Like I feel like I got a little bit emotional with like that story. Cause I mean, it makes me think like, I mean, imagine that being your family, dude. Like imagine, thinking your son or your daughter is going out to try and do something, that you believe in, trying to make the world a better place, like in their eyes and everything. And you're just on a routine drill and you're just gone. You're just gone. And there is no closure. There's no closure for anybody. There's no closure for the family. There's no closure for the mom, dad, the brother, the sister, the girlfriend, the wife. I mean, there's just nothing, and you have to sit there and, let them know, like, hey, we don't know what happened,
Yeah.
but they served their country. I mean, that just doesn't mean anything, and it's really sad to know that you have people just losing their lives and no one can say why. No one can give an answer. No one can find a body. No one can find bones. No one can find the literal wreck itself. And it's pretty sad, dude. It's pretty sad. I mean, you think about stuff like the Titanic. We know where the Titanic is. I mean, as much as a tragedy that is, you still know where it's at. You can still get down there. People take tours, as weird as it sounds. I mean, to me, it's a little bit weird that you would take a tour of like pretty much a mass graveyard at that point. Oh yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to spend my money and go down and look at where a whole bunch of people died. Like, it's pretty interesting, teach our own, but you can get down there. You have stories like these where it's just no one fucking knows, dude. Like no one knows. No one knows what happened. No one has a real reason why things happen. There's just nothing. There's just nothing, and you kind of just have to live with that. You kind of have to live with that, live with the question, and just go about your daily life, I guess, But just kind of move forward. I mean, we're getting pretty late in the night right now. We're at past midnight right now. So I figure we move on a little bit to the interesting conspiracies, all that kind of stuff. we talked about it a little bit. A lot of people think Atlantis is down there. Some hidden technology, some interesting, like, oh yeah, this is the technology is what's bringing things down, type of thing. Again, in Charles Berlitz's book, he kind of made it popular to think like, oh, like the Bermuda Triangle is holding Atlantean technology, all that kind of stuff. Again, this is in 1974, so it's been out for a little bit. But the 70s was the age of Spiritism, and it was the age of, the flower children and, peace, love, all that kind of stuff. A lot of existential, again, spiritualism in general. A lot of people were practicing that. So I don't know. I don't believe it, necessarily. And that's coming from the guy who tries to keep an open mind with everything. But I don't necessarily. It's I don't think
you
it's
think that all these people are like just somewhere at the bottom of the sea, pretty much.
The logical part of me wants to say yeah. And we just haven't. We just either we don't have the technology for it, or again, with the Gulf Stream, because it pushes the water so heavily, that maybe it's getting pushed out of its normal resting state, So, I mean, you can try and pinpoint exactly where you think something went down. You get down there and it's not there, I definitely believe that's a possibility. But at the same time, I would think after 50 plus years that you would kind of get a grip on, even stuff we learned in high school, distance equals rate times time. I think you would be able to kind of measure that enough to find whatever you're looking for, like to measure it and like find it in a different place.
Yeah.
I personally think, we're smart human beings that can do something like that and figure out equations. If we can figure out, pi being 3.14, etc., that we can sit there and do a basic mathematical equation to kind of like pinpoint things. That's just me. So I do think there's a little bit of mystery having to do with it. I don't necessarily think it's like what else we have on the list. I mean, we
Time
have
warps
we have UFO alien connections. I don't
think
necessarily
this is
think it's
your interdimensional Bigfoot going for a dip.
Interdimensional, maybe not as much. I would actually say maybe time lapses in time, possibly. I mean, we've had many TV shows and movies that kind of put that in the mainstream media, that there's just kind of places where you can get through a certain, I don't know, like I guess a certain barrier and like maybe go from like the 1900s to like dinosaur times. Like, I mean, shit, like I don't know, but there's multiple people who have claimed that they've gone through it and then they've gone back through the portal. And who am I to say that they're fucking crazy? Like
Sure.
You have multiple people saying the same thing, but they don't know each other. I'm kind of like, I'm kind of inclined to believe like, what if there is some weird, portal or something going on, and maybe people go through it and they just never come back. I don't know. I don't necessarily think it has anything to do with aliens or UFOs, UAPs. I don't necessarily believe that because why do they care about putting you in a spot that you don't belong in? I don't know.
Maybe
and
you're
that's
already
just
in a spot you don't belong in, and they take you out.
Shit, maybe, dude. I don't know. I'm open to any interpretation of whatever, but
Yeah.
I definitely think that in all of the research I've done, especially with the UFO community and all that, they typically, when they take you, they do what they need to do or want to do, and then they put you back. So it's I don't really necessarily see them being I'm going to take 5 airplanes and I'm just going to put them somewhere else. I just don't.
Sure.
I don't see that
I
being a
get
thing.
that.
And if they did, there'd be tangible evidence of them being somewhere else. I just don't, if they were going to take them, they're taking the physical bodies and they're taking them off of Earth. I don't. What about the physical evidence? Where's the fucking planes? I just don't. Yeah. I don't see that being a big conspiracy. I just don't see them. If they're going to do anything, they're going to take you and they're going to take your physically, chubby body and they're going to fucking take you up to wherever, do whatever they want. And they're I'm going to send you back. And then they just send you back to where the fuck ever you're from. I don't, I just don't see them taking whole planes. I don't take it. I just don't see them taking a ship of 300 people, never bringing it back. I just don't really think that that's the agenda right there. So I have no idea. Rogue waves. We have rogue waves on here. I don't know if you've ever seen anything about rogue waves. I don't know if you want to look it up, but rogue waves can get up to 100+ feet, which is wild,
Yeah, I definitely feel like the most logical explanation is weather and ocean conditions.
Yeah. And that, I'm kind of more on that wave at the same time. I've never really seen a rogue wave just kind of pop up. But at the same time, if it's only happening, I'm saying, if that's the case, and it's only happening in one specific region, maybe that region is just, there's something there having to do with the earth and the Terra in general that's just kind of letting it happen.
Yeah.
I just don't know. But at the same time, I would think us being in 2026, there would be a little bit more seismic tests and everything going on. Either seismic tests, maybe drones, maybe, I feel something would be put in the water to kind of see what's actually going on, if it was weather related and if it was, something causing something like that to happen more frequently than other places, but it's not happening. And like we said, it's heavily trafficked by multiple ships, through trade. So I just don't really know. I just don't think it would be that, because I think it would be way more easy to film and document and to understand oh yeah, this is what's happening. This is why we can't see this. And then that do with, the Gulf Stream. That's why we can't find anything, because it's pushing things away super fast. But again, we're in 2026. We're almost at 2030. You're going to tell me you don't have the technology to figure out
we definitely
how
have
that's going on, Like I just don't buy it, you know? I just don't buy it. What we have we have electronic fog. I mean, maybe again, electronic fog is like a relatively like people have documented it. So it's not like it's a paranormal phenomena or whatever. But again, it's almost 2030. We don't have anything to document that, you know? Like we don't have anything that can sit there and say like, oh yeah, this is what's happening, you know? And this is why we can't find this. Like, you know, there's only certain mundane things that can answer only very few parts of like the subject.
Yeah.
Okay, a giant ship is gone. Cool. You can explain why it's gone with one thing. Where the fuck's the ship now? You know, like, yeah, I mean, there's only certain things that can answer certain questions. There's nothing that answers the entirety of like what's going on.
Yeah.
So I personally don't think it's necessarily a mundane thing. I think maybe something is going on that's a little bit more on the paranormal side. But I personally think maybe it has to do with something with portals, or it has to do with something that's interdimensional and taking something and putting it in another place, you know, or maybe instead of framing it as interdimensional, what if it's a wormhole? You know, like what if there's a scientific, you know, reasoning?
And we also like, I
you
mean,
know,
we
like,
usually bring it up in regards to sea life, but you know, just in general, we don't know jack shit about the ocean.
Yeah.
Compared to everything else we as a human species know, including
3%.
Space.
Yeah, we
know
explored
nothing
3%.
about it. So there could very well be shit that we just don't understand going on over there in relation to the ocean and why it disappeared.
I mean, I'm more on the level of thinking like maybe the fucking Kraken took the boats, you know, like I don't know, but again, like I said, if you're only explaining one thing, that doesn't explain the planes. You know, like, it can explain the boats, but what's up with the planes, you know? So it's like, there's multiple layers to like the weirdness that's going on, and you just won't know until it gets further studied. Like, you know, I just don't think that there's anything you can do about it without taking a deeper dive. And for all we know, maybe someone did take a deeper dive. They didn't like what they found, and someone told them not to say anything. You know, like, I just don't know. 'Cause even with the Atlantis stuff, you'd be able to take seismic readings. You'd be able to find it, you know, if it was just being taken underwater, you know. But the fact that nothing's being seen and nothing's being said, I'm like, you know, it's got to be something a little bit more than that, you know, than just things getting picked up by an ocean swell and being taken like hundreds of miles away so people can't find it, you know. Even if it was just 20 miles away, I feel like people would still be able to eventually find some sort of remnants, some sort of, you know, documentation of something, you know, but they're not. So I don't know. I feel like it's got to be a little bit more. It's got to be a little bit more for sure. So, but I mean, that's about all we have on the fringe stuff, but I think we've kind of covered. I think we've covered a lot of that on, like, it doesn't really make a lot of sense with a lot of them. So
at the end of the day,
know.
we don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. Well, I mean, we have the scientific stuff too. I mean, You got the Gulf Stream, like we said, picking
Yeah,
stuff up, taking it somewhere else. You know, I mean, yeah, you could do that, but how far is it going to take it before you find it? You know, like if they can read like where the water's being pushed, then you can kind of calculate like how far it's going to be pushed, you know? So I don't think that's a viable answer. Weather, for sure. I think the weather could definitely take in a lot of things,
are what I
you know?
to be the most logical.
Yeah. The weather makes sense. I mean, it makes sense for planes and, you know, ships and giant, you know, carriers and stuff like that. Like, it makes sense. But again, my argument is like, well, why haven't we found it then? You know, if that's the case, we should be able to find at least like remnants of something, even if it's not a whole ship or a whole plane.
Yeah.
I feel like we should be able to find it. Human error, again, for sure. Yeah, humans fuck up like all the time. We fuck up 24/7, even just with this podcast, we fuck up. You know, so
I don't know what you're
so
talking
it's
about. We never fuck
like,
up.
yeah, you're right. We're perfect. We're perfect.
Mhm.
But you know, even with human error, again, yeah, it could be that. But where's the signs of the dead? Where, you know, where's the pieces? You know, where's this? Where's that? If you can't find it, then it's like, yeah, human error could have taken them out, but you'd still be able to find something if it was, you know, if it was a mundane explanation, but we can't. So I don't understand that. Again, rogue waves, yeah, could take out ships, not planes, unless the waves are hitting fucking thousands of feet up in the air. You know, that's not a viable option.
You know, human error and weather conditions. I mean, it could be not just one thing.
Yeah.
You could have them flying lower and getting hit by crazy monster waves. I mean, there's all kinds of situations. Like we don't know what they were doing on the day of, you know?
Yeah. No, and that's fine. But again, where's the parts? Where's the remnants? Especially with Flight 19, where's 5 planes and a rescue boat? You know, like,
yeah,
you got air and ground, you know, patrol. There's still nothing there, you know. So what is it that's, you know, like what's that deciding factor of, well, this will work, but this won't? And where's the remnants? Where's the people? Where's the bones? You know, so I don't know. But to me, a lot of the mundane explanations, yeah, they work, but they only work for certain parts of the story. But
yeah,
that's just me.
it's just me.
It's just me.
Well, I mean, unless you have anything else to add, I mean, I think that kind of covers everything we wanted to kind of talk about today when it comes to the Bermuda Triangle and the mysteries of it all. And, you know, unfortunately, like we said, we don't have the answers, but we enjoy talking about it because it's a what is it? A brain teaser? A brain? It's something to, you know, wrap your mind around and just consider and theorize about. And we may never know the answer, but but it is such an interesting phenomenon that we wanted to discuss, and it was fun. I enjoyed talking about it.
Yeah. No, this is definitely a topic I think I hold a little bit near and dear to myself, my heart, just because I grew up, I think the Bermuda Triangle was one of my first, like, oh my God, dude, like, there's some crazy shit going on,
Yeah.
Especially as a kid. Now I don't think it's as scary as we kind of make it out to be, but there are certain cases where I'm just like, I don't understand how
you
there's
can't deny
any
that
other,
unanswered
explanation
questions.
besides weird shit, like it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. So, no, I just think it's just one of those topics where, like you said, we're just never going to know. We're never going to be able to give the answers until we get to the point where someone goes out there and they can show irrefutable proof of their findings and like, hey, I actually found this, I found that. This is the reason why I found it. This is how I found it. We're just never going to get that answer,
Yeah.
Never going to get the answer. So we're just kind of left to ponder and, think about it. That's about all we can do. So, yeah, just being left to the question, but being able to ask different questions, with the information you're given. So, yeah.
Well, with that said, obviously, as we mentioned in our housekeeping, we're going to be brainstorming stuff about the future of Woodsman and our schedule for posting. So look out for any changes. We'll make sure to keep you updated both on here, and we'll make posts about it on our socials if there are any changes at all. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us for today's conversation. We love you. Oh yeah, happy 6/7. 6/7. It's episode 67.
That's crazy. I thought we would have been at episode 100 by now.
Yeah, times are rough, but
life sucks. But
I still like where we're at with Woodsman.
Life sucks,
So,
but swag is forever, just like we've said.
swag
Joey.
is forever.
Yeah. That's why I'm trying to get Joey to get a tattoo of my lips on his neck.
Not gonna happen. But I appreciate
swag is forever, dude. Embarrassment is just like one day, but swag is forever.
Not with a tattoo.
Yeah,
Not with a tattoo.
Yeah.
You don't have to say last
who.
A long time.
You don't have to say whose lips are on your neck.
I don't want anyone's lips on my neck.
Why not mine?
I just don't want I don't even want a tattoo right now.
So you don't love me.
That is correct.
I am the toxic girlfriend. I am the toxic girlfriend. If you love me, you get my lips tattooed on your neck.
I don't love you then.
All right, it's time to wrap this shit up. Fuck it. I'm about to go cry. I'm about to go cry right now.
Well, thank you again, everybody. We appreciate you. We've been your hosts, Joey Rucker
and Brent Murphy.
And
see you next week.
Don't get lost.
The Woodsman Podcast is actively reading and responding to anything and everything on Instagram and our email.
If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about the show, or would like to possibly be on the show, you can email us at thewoodsmanpod@gmail.com.
Make sure to keep up with all things Woodsman related on Instagram and X at WoodsmanPod.
Don't forget to rate, like, and subscribe to the Woodsman Podcast wherever you get your podcasts, with video exclusively on YouTube and Patreon.
Make sure to follow our personal accounts at Strange Kids and Piemaster J on all platforms. The Woodsman Podcast is co-produced by Brent Murphy and Joey Rucker. Written by Brent Murphy, video editing by Joey Rucker, and blood, sweat, and tears by all of us.
Any additional content by the Woodsman Podcast may not be used without our permission. Copyright Cabin 13 Productions.
And remember,
Actually, we kind of forgot to do our and remember, so